Hello, welcome to day of reading through the Bible. I'm Toni Henderson-Mayers. I'll be your reader. I'm known as an actor, a director, producer, professor, but most important, I'm a child of God. And I'm also known as an entrepreneur too, as well. If you want to know more about me, join my Toni Henderson-Mayers YouTube channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and ring the notification bell for that channel and this one so you'll know every time I upload a new video. So, you ready to read God's word? Let's go. Joshua 9 through 11. Let's read. Let's read. I drank a little bit of my tea here, so hopefully I won't go too dry while reading. Okay, and hopefully my bracelets won't make so much noise on this table. The Gideonite Deception, chapter 9. Now, when the kings west of the Jordan heard about these things, the kings in the hill country, in the western foothills, and along the entire coast of the Mediterranean Sea, as far as Lebanon, the kings of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Pezerites, Hivites, and Jebusites, they came together to wage war against Joshua and Israel. That's a lot of people. However, when the people of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they resorted to a ruse. They went as a delegation whose donkeys were loaded with worn out sacks and old wineskins cracked and mended. They put worn and patched sandals on their feet and worn out clothes. All the bread of their food supply was dry and moldy. Okay. Then they went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal and said to him and the Israelites, "We have come from a distant country. Make a treaty with us." The Israelites said to the Hivites, "But perhaps you live near us, so how can we make a treaty with you?" "We are your servants," they said to Joshua. But Joshua asked, "Who are you and where do you come from?" They answered, "Your servants have come from a very distant country because of the fame of the Lord your God. For we have heard reports of him, all that he did in Egypt, all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, who reigned in Asaroth. And our elders and all those living in your country said to us," excuse me, I just need to move that back, said to us, "Take provision for your journey. Go and meet them and say to them, 'We are servants, and make a treaty with us.' This bread of ours was warm when we packed it at home on the day we left to come to you. But now see how dry and moldy it is. And these wineskins that were filled were new, but see how cracked they are. And our clothes and sandals are worn out by the very long journey." The Israelites sampled their provisions, but did not inquire of the Lord. Then Joshua made a treaty of peace with them to let them live, and the leaders of the assembly ratified it by oath. 3 days after they made the treaty with the Gibeonites, the Israelites heard that they were neighbors living near them. So the Israelites set out on the third day, came to their cities, Gibeon, Kiphareth, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites did not attack them because the leaders of the assembly had sworn an oath to them by the Lord, the God of Israel. The whole assembly grumbled against the leaders. But all the leaders answered, "We have given them our oath by the Lord, the God of Israel, and we cannot touch them now. This is what we will do to them. We will let them live so that God's wrath will not fall on us for breaking the oath we swore to them. They continued, let them live, but let them be woodcutters and water carriers in the service of the whole assembly. So the leader's promise to them was kept. Then Joshua summoned the Gibeonites and said, why did you deceive us by saying we live a long way from you, while actually you live near us? You are now under a curse. You will never be released from service as woodcutters and water carriers for the house of my God. They answered Joshua, your servants were clearly told how the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to give you the whole land and to wipe out all its inhabitants from before you. So we feared for our lives because of you, and that is why we did this. We are now in your hands. Do to us whatever seems good and right to you. So Joshua saved them from the Israelites, and they did not kill them. That day he made the Gibeonites woodcutters and water carriers for the assembly to provide for the needs of the altar of the Lord at the place the Lord would choose. And that is what they are to this day. The sun stands still. Now Adonai Zedeck, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had taken Ai and totally destroyed it, doing to Ai and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the people of Gibeon had made a treaty of peace with Israel and had become their allies. He and his people were very much alarmed at this because Gibeon was an important city, like one of the royal cities. It was larger than Ai, and all its men were good fighters. So Adonai Zedeck, king of Jerusalem, appealed to Hoham, king of Hebron, Piriam, king of Jarmuth, and Japhia, king of Lachish, and Debir, king of Eglon. Come up and help me attack Gibeon, he said, because it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. Then the 5 kings of the Amorites, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon, joined forces. They moved up with all their troops and took up positions against Gibeon and attacked it. The Gibeonites then sent word to Joshua in the camp of Gilgal, do not abandon your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us. Help us, because all the Amorite kings from the hill country have joined forces against us. So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with his entire army, including the best fighting men. The Lord said to Joshua, do not be afraid of them. I have given them into your hands. Not one of them will be able to withstand you. After an all-night march from Gilgal, Joshua took them by surprise. The Lord threw them into confusion before Israel. So Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely at Gibeon. Israel pursued them along the road going up to Beth Horon and cut them down all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. As they fled before Israel on the road down from Beth Horon to Azekah, the Lord hurled large hailstones down on them, and more of them died from the hail than were killed by the sword of Israelites. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself on its enemies, as it is written in the book of Jasar. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. There has never been a day like it before or since, a day when the listen to a human being. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. Then Joshua returned with all Israel to the camp at Gilgal. 5 Amorite kings killed. Now the 5 kings had fled and hidden in the cave of Makkedah. When Joshua was told that the 5 kings had been found hiding in the cave of Makkedah, he said, "Roll large rocks up to the mouth of the cave and put some men there to guard it. But don't stop. Pursue your enemies, attack them from the rear, and don't let them reach their cities, for the Lord your God has given them into your hand." So when Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely, but a few survivors managed to reach their fortified cities, the whole army then returned safely to Joshua in the camp of Makkedah, and no one uttered a word against the Israelites. Joshua said, "Open the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings out to me." So they brought the 5 kings out of the cave, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they had brought these kings to Joshua, he summoned all the men of Israel and said to the army commanders who had come with him, "Come here and put your feet on the necks of these kings." So they came forward and placed their feet on their necks. Joshua said to them, "Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Be strong and be courageous. This is what the Lord will do to all the enemies who are going to fight." Then Joshua went out. Then Joshua put the kings to death and exposed their bodies on 5 poles, and they were left hanging on the poles until evening. At sunset, Joshua gave the order, and they took them down from the poles and threw them into the cave where they had been hiding. At the mouth of the cave, they placed large rocks, which are there to this day. Southern cities conquered. That day, Joshua took Makkedah. He put the city and its king to the sword, and they totally destroyed everyone in it. He left no survivors, and he did to the kings of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved on from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked it. The Lord also gave that city and its kings to Israel's hand. The city and everyone in it Joshua put to the sword. He left no survivors there, and he did to its king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved on from Libnah to Lachish. He took up positions against it and attacked it. The Lord gave Lachish into Israel's hands, and Joshua took it on the 2nd day. The city and everyone in it he put to the sword, just as he had done to Libnah. Meanwhile, Horam, king of Gezer, had come up to help Lachish, but Joshua defeated him and his army until no survivors were left. He should have stayed home, Joe. Then Joshua and all of Israel with him moved on from Lachish to Eglon. They took up positions against it and attacked it. They captured it that same day and put the sword and totally destroyed everyone in it, just as they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all the Israelites went with him and went up from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it. They took the city and put it to the sword, together with its kings, its villages, and everyone in it. They left no survivors. Just as at Eglon, they totally destroyed it and everyone in it. Then Joshua and all of Israel with him turned around and attacked Debir. They took the city, its kings, its villages, and put them to the sword. Everyone in it they totally destroyed. They left no survivors. They did to Debir and its king as they had done to Libnah and its king and to Hebron. So Joshua subdued the whole region, including the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills, and the mountain slopes. Together with all their kings, he left no survivors. He totally destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua subdued them from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza and from the whole region of Goshen to Gibeon. All these kings and their lands Joshua conquered in one campaign because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned from all Israel to the camp at Gilgal. Chapter 11, Northern Kings Defeated. When Jabin, king of Hazar, heard of this, he sent word to Joab, king of Madon, to the kings of Shimron and Aksath, and to the northern king who were in the mountains in the Arabah, south of Kinnereth, in the western foothills, and in Naphoth Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and west, the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, in the hill country, and to the Hivites below Hermon in the region of Mizpah. They came out with all their troops and a large number of horses and chariots, a huge army as numerous as the sand on the seashore. All these kings joined forces and made camp together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. Wow. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, because by this time tomorrow I will hand all of them slain over to Israel. You are to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army came against them suddenly at the waters of Merom and attacked them and the Lord gave them into the hands of Israel. They defeated them and pursued all the way to Greater Sidon, to Misrephoth Maim and the valley of Mizpah on the east until no survivors were left. Joshua did to them as the Lord had directed. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots. At that time, Joshua turned back and captured Hazor and put his king to the sword. Hazor had been the head of all these kingdoms. Everyone in it they put to the sword. They totally destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed. And he burned Hazor itself. Joshua took all these royal cities and their kings and put them to the sword. He totally destroyed them, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded. Yet Israel did not burn any of the cities built on their mounds, except Hazor, which Joshua burned. With Joshua. The Israelites carried off for themselves all the plunder and livestock of these cities, but all the people they put to the sword until they completely destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed, as the Lord commanded his servant Moses. So Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua did it. He let nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. So Joshua took his entire land, the hill country of the Negev, the whole region of Goshen, the western foothills, the Arabah, and the mountains of Israel with their foothills, from Mount Halak, which rises again toward Seir, to Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and put them to death. Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time, except for the Hivites living in Gibeon. Not one city made a treaty of peace with the Israelites, who took them all in battle. For it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so he might destroy them totally, exterminating them without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses. At the time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the country of Judah and from all the hill country of Israel, Joshua totally destroyed them and their towns. No Anakites were left in Israel's territory, only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any survive. So Joshua took the entire land, just as the Lord had directed Moses, and he gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to their tribal divisions. Then the land had rest from war. Ooh, child, may the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his holy word. Now, I got a trivia for you. Why do you think the Lord did all this wars against the countries? You got to go back. We read it and we might have just read right over it without even thinking about it, but put it in the chat if you got the answer as to why the Lord had Israel have wars against all of these countries. Anyway, thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video, okay? So you know every time I upload a new video, it's getting thick in here. It's getting real thick, and it's getting very interesting. And you have to read the word many, many, many times. And each time you'll get something out of it. And as well as you know the word, you'll be like, oh, that's why. Oh my goodness, this is why it was happening. So you definitely want to read through the Bible with me. But you want to stick. There's going to be 365 videos to read through the Bible in a year. However, we're going to add some more videos with commentary. I heard what you said. We're going to add some commentary. We may add some guest people coming in and speaking to us. All of these things to get us a better understanding. We're reading through, but then we're going to have to study through, and then maybe we can shout through the Bible. Okay, it's going to be some levels. There's going to be some levels with this, but I'm so grateful that you have joined me. I'm so proud of you. Keep it up. I see some of y'all still going through, and every now and then say to me, Toni, I'm still with you. Say it in the chat. Let me know. I'm still with you. Don't give up. We got to get to the New Testament, okay? And speaking of that, I'm making categories as I'm filming, whether or not this video is for the Old Testament or the New Testament, whether it's a psalm, whether it's poetry or it's the books of laws, and you'll see those develop as we go along to help you kind of, categorize and get back to videos that, because you're going to probably watch this video again, all right? And once we get to a level where YouTube is kind of like, I think I can go live, but I mean live in a way that I'm thinking. We'll do some things live too as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you visit my website, www.tonihenderson-mayers.com. Make sure you go to the other websites and there's some merchandise, honey, that you can purchase, okay, to help keep this going and help support me. Yes, indeed. Because I need your help. I need it. All right, darlings. I will see you all tomorrow. Just know that the word of God is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. We will hide God's word in our hearts that we may not sin against God. I will see you tomorrow. But really, I'm how I be recording like 3 or 4 videos in a day. I'm going to drink some tea and I'll see you in a few. Bye. Hey there. Thank you so much for checking out my video, and I want you to check out my website at ToniHenderson-Mayers.com. You can find out about me in film and stage. You can also find out about the wise courtship philosophy and everything that that I do, speaking across the country, and the book that I've written. And of course, you can go on to my online store where you can learn a lot of information about business, get coaching sessions, online courses, and so much more. Not only that, I have an Etsy store, which the website of all of these things are in my description. So make sure you go to my Etsy shop, which is called Faith, Hope, and Love Center. Make sure you go to that so you can get t-shirts, and I'm adding things every day, t-shirts, mugs, masks, all types of things. And the link that's going to take you to all of the books that we're using pretty much in our Read Through the Bible series. So here are the journals. This reflection journal is so that you can write and take notes. This one has a lot of study information and will help you keep organized as you're studying the Bible. This is the Bible that I read from, the NIV Study Bible. Of course, Wise Courtship is here, and some of the other books that I wrote. Yes, God is Real, and also I Rise, Stories of Triumph. It's just a great encouragement tool. So walk on over to the stores and give us some support. I think you're going to be blessed by the products. Take care.